What's the good word, It's your boy DKB here. We're on day 7 of New York Jets training camp and the third day of padded practices. And there's two major storylines here. One, a critical injury, a major storyline news there. And the other one, a complete obliteration of the defense by this New York Jets offense, which was the most lopsided battle in favor of the offense that we've seen the entire offseason. So let's start off with the injury. Michael Carter II went down with an ankle injury today. Robert Saleh in his press conference cited he doesn't actually have any serious concerns about this. A lot of the reports that I saw mentioned he couldn't really walk off the field with his own power, and it looked pretty bad. So it was good news up front hearing that Robert Saleh has no concerns. But I'm trying to think. I don't recall if it was the AR injury, but I think we had another injury in camp last year where he mentioned the same thing and then turn around and it ends up being, an ACL or somebody's Achilles or something. So we'll see ultimately what happens when we get our next press conference from him, and hopefully an update there. But for the positive news, scoring drives from every quarterback. Again, the offense went insane, but this trickled all the way down to the third string QBs here, and we'll touch on all of that in a moment. Allen Lazard, in terms of injury news, he was being managed today, so a few less reps due to some camp soreness. And then we also got to see a return from Brandon Echols. But let's get into all the juicy tidbits from the on-field work. Aaron Rodgers led the charge when it came to executing a 6-touchdown day via in red zone drills, which I've seen some, beat writers and stuff saying, take that with a grain of salt. For me, absolutely not. We know personally the red zone has been, it's not even Achilles heel for us, right? Because it doesn't exist. We don't have legs when it comes to red zone work. I literally recall trying to think the game off the top of my head, but it was garbage time. We finally got into the red zone, and then we couldn't do anything, right? I think an incomplete pass to Conklin, I think a drop or incomplete pass to Ruckert, and then maybe one that he had to sail away, and then like a scramble drill that didn't work. Complete chaos. Now, we're talking Zach Wilson to Aaron Rodgers here, but still, 6 touchdowns versus this defense isn't nothing. And so I'm excited to see this, right? This is exactly what we've been waiting for, because we know Aaron Rodgers' mental processing power, somewhat of a supercomputer out there on the field. He should be able to go out there and have certain games, certain days like this. So I love to see it. Ultimately went 9 of 11 during team period drills, and I believe this was also a bit of a lighter day because tomorrow is more of a walkthrough session per Robert Saleh. But for some other guys, right? Obviously, as we mentioned from the quarterback perspective, Tyrod Taylor got in on the touchdown festival. So did Andrew Peasley, as well as new UFL arrival Adrian Martinez, who's been getting more involved and getting some more work in these team drills. Garrett Wilson, our man G5, he was the recipient of 3 of Rodgers' touchdowns in the red zone, 2 to start off practice, and then 1 to kind of help wrap up the drills, from my understanding. Breece Hall had 2, and there was an interesting bit from the press conferences, which I'm going to parlay into a separate video here. But keep in mind, 2 red zone touchdowns for Breece Hall. He's getting more comfortably involved in the receiving game, and as Rodgers starts to call out what he's doing really, really well and identify how he can really take advantage of him, he's going to be, again, the engine of the offense, the ultimate chess piece that he can manipulate when it comes to getting those additional DBs or getting that linebacker, having to force the edge rusher to maybe, try to chip or something on his way to the quarterback, which is a huge plus for us. Malachi Corley, he's been doing himself some favors with Xavier Gibson, Mike Williams being out, even Allen Lazard being out for this particular practice. Rep-wise, touchdown against Echols with Rodgers as part of the red zone touchdown palooza there. He's getting more comfortable with the playbook via his own words, and it looks like the offense is being catered around his skill set when he's on the field. So a little bit, and this is why you want the route running to get to where it's supposed to be, because it's definitely an identifier, right? If you see Corley coming out, ideally you're going to start looking for things like quick plays to the flats, slant plays, ideally, and then any kind of combination of like wide receiver, running back screens, and I actually have more on that in a separate video as well pretty soon here. But then he also got himself some work in that second and third string unit with a touchdown via Peasley. So glad to see he's finally balling out. This is what we were waiting for from him in training camp. Pads are on. We can see the physicality, and I believe it was the Peasley touchdown where he was able to drag some guys or run through some guys anyways, rather, on his way to the end zone. Defensively, one more guy to shout out here. Izzy, he's had himself some consecutive positive days. Still hasn't really cracked the second or first string rotation, but he did get himself a big touchdown today, also running through some defenders. And for the defensive side, it wasn't a complete letdown. We're seeing something I'm excited about. One of the things that made a guy like JJ Watt great was the ability to impact the game, no matter if he was getting after quarterback, collapsing the pocket, causing pressures, etc. One of the biggest underrated pieces into the later part of his career was batting passes down at the line of scrimmage, and we were able to do that consistently enough during this practice. Jalen Holmes got himself one versus Tyrod. Kinlaw and Quinnen, they teamed up. Kinlaw had a tipped pass that ended up falling into the hands of Quinnen Williams, who got himself an interception off Rodgers. And then we seen some solid play and once in a blue moon situation on the back end today. Isaiah Oliver got himself a pass breakup versus new tight end arrival Kevin Ferkser. And then the most impressive play to me that I was able to catch up on from the defensive side, Chuck Clark in a one-on-one situation, obviously with Braylon Allen hitting the hole and there not being anybody around him per se, but essentially in a one-on-one situation, Chuck Clark was able to stack Braylon Allen up and get himself a run stop, which you think about the disparity in physical size and all of that kind of stuff, which still matters in this game. Very, very, very impressive. So let me know what you guys ultimately thought about day 7. What are you looking forward to? Tomorrow should be a slower day news-wise. And I'll catch you guys again. Peace.